Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer special edition, the Tulane preview. We are going to preview ECU this coming Saturday at noon. 2:30. The kickoff's at 2:30. We'll have game coverage here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are doing that tonight, scouting reports, and we're going to do the coaches' press conferences and let you hear from Willie Fritz and Mike Houston, and also we'll have the scouting reports on both teams. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me send the links. The links are posted if you want to talk Tulane football. You can do that via Facebook. I'm going to send that out to Facebook as well. So let me send this out. Okay, let's go ahead and play the press conferences from Willie Fritz and also Coach Houston from the East Carolina Pirates. So we hear from Coach Fritz.
It's really our first, I guess, normal week. We got out of the hotel on Friday and moved into their residence. And going to class in person began yesterday. Second day will be today. Getting some lifting in as well. Back in the weight room. Then we got to lift Sunday, Tuesday. Some guys Monday and Wednesday. And then had a good practice, or heavy practice here on Tuesday. So probably a good workout. And just working on ECU, good opponent. They've had a tough schedule also, pre-senior camp. Played some good schools, South Carolina, App State, and Marshall. And I had a tough game last weekend against Charleston Southern. Came out victorious, so another big challenge for us.
Questions for Coach Fritz?
Well, running stats can be skewed when you're behind, but you just haven't run the ball as well this year as you would like. What do you feel have been the biggest issues through the first 4 games?
Sometimes you can score. Sometimes you can score, and you got to score quick. It's more difficult to score quickly when you run the ball in a series, and we got to do a better job. We got to run the ball more effectively. We got to get some run plays that we can hang our hat on. That's a run play that we know we can gain yards on every time we call it. So we got to get better running the football.
Kind of the first time you've had a stretch like this since you've been coached, where the run game hasn't been productive. Does it surprise you at all, or just wait?
Yeah, we're kind of got a few new guys and a few new spots, and I think a little bit of it has been the score of the game dictated. A little bit about running the football when we can run it. Sometimes in the halves we've had very little time. We've had to go 2 minute. So some of it's situation, some of it's score.
By the other token, YG had some really good runs in this last game. He earned himself a
he's going to keep
role.
playing more and more and more. The issue's always been with YG is just health. He's been banged up the last couple of years. We had guys in front of him. He was healthy. Those guys were in front of him. They were healthy. We got some good backs. We need to exploit their ability a little bit more.
Any thoughts on the defense, what you can do to improve there?
Yeah, we just at this point, I thought we did a poor job tackling last time. We got to get better at tackling. We're certainly working on it a bunch. We have a few guys out right now. They're maybe some of our better tacklers, and hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 of those guys back this week, be able to play for us. But we just got to tackle better. If we tackle better, we really would have played pretty darn good defense. We tackle well. But, play good defense, got to tackle good. can't have one without the other.
Can you attribute that to Nick Mason?
Well, he's obviously a great tackler and a really good player for us. So certainly didn't help us with not being able to play for us.
Did you see this one coming at all, or?
No, I knew he's a good team. I believe they won that conference 3 out of the last 4 years. We just didn't. We knew we were going to have to play real good in order to win the ball game. We didn't start off very good. And in the second half, we had a couple of crucial plays we needed to make, and we didn't make it. And made us playing catch up the rest of the ball game. So, I got it. They're probably the front runner to win that league again this year. They're a good ball club. But we felt like we were capable of beating them, but we had to play well in order to do it. I don't think we played a great game.
You were in this position before a few years ago. You're actually 2-5 and turned it around. Do you see any similarities, or each year different, or what do you?
Every year is different. We just need to just keep pressing and keep playing hard. Not worry about the rest of the season. You set your schedule up before the season begins. You do it with, when you're playing people, and your practice schedule changes slightly based on a Thursday night or a Saturday or a night game or whatever. But, once you get into it, you got to go one at a time. And, turn your attention. I've got a 24-hour power and it was a hard one this last week, but you got to turn the page. You got to move on.
Noah Seiden made some plays in this game. He obviously last year had earned the scholarship, played well. What allows him to continue to be as effective as he is?
He had great technique. He's earned himself a starting job to start this week. But he's got excellent technique. He can get off the blocks. He's not a rep guy at all. When you tell him something, he's able to do it immediately.
Anything else for Coach Fritz?
Do you think that the transition from Sandville and Johnson has been a little? I know players graduate, but
Well, those two guys are great players. I think Keem just had a sack in the NFL the other day. Patrick, I know, played quite a few snaps for Philadelphia, so I heard. I didn't get a chance to watch Keem or either one of them, obviously. But they're both great players. But you gotta be able to replace guys. You lost some guys the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. So guys have got some opportunities to step up and show what they can do, and they need to take advantage of it. Those two are certainly excellent football players. We need some guys to step up. It doesn't necessarily have to be at that position. It might be at another position. It might be a linebacker or a safety guy. All of a sudden elevates his play and plays better.
Anything else? Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Chip Long. We'll hear from Chip Long.
How would you assess where the offense is at this point? Michael Pratt probably didn't practice a whole lot last week, maybe a little last season.
Right.
Game and then came on after that.
Yeah, obviously anybody in college football, especially these young guys, they don't practice. They're not going to play at a high level. So there was definitely a little bit of rust, especially on third downs on quick hitting plays. I think he got out of it midway through the second quarter, but just those reps and just the timing wasn't quite there. He made certain throws to give us a chance to win the game. We got as a group make plays for him. But overall, I'm pleased with the offense. They've come a long way. Placed, 2 potential playoff teams out of 4 games. UAB, I wouldn't be shocked if they win their conference. They're a great defense. So it's been a good test for our offense, heading into conference play. Obviously, I feel like we should be sitting here 3-1, but we got to clean up some of just the turnovers and costly penalties, and just stepping and tripping over ourselves at times. And that comes with a young offense. So we need to go on the road again, just clean things up. And some of our veterans need to start playing like that. And the young guys need to keep coming on and pushing them. We need a little bit more guys to be able to play for us. That's kind of what we're pushing right now. Just to, get more guys out there playing.
The running stats is skewed because you've been behind early in a lot of these games, but do you feel like the team should be running more effectively?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a run first offensive guy. It all starts there. obviously we got to find a way to win a game too. You know, with that being said, and you know, we have some new guys playing tailback, some guys coming back from injuries, and some guys first time starting out there. So you know, they're all feeling their roles. Some days we're running well, and some days we're not. But just the consistency, and you know, just getting an even groove right there. You know, Mike's really kind of help alleviate some of the pain there. Obviously, we don't need him to do a lot, but he's naturally just a competitor. He's gonna scramble and make things happen. But you know, it's an all-out effort every single day. We want to be able to run first, play excellent offense, and it starts there. But you know, saying that, we got to win the game and put our kids in position to make plays that you know have a chance at the end.
Cameron Carroll's averaging under 4 yards a carry right now. Is he sometimes it looks like?
Okay, folks, I don't know. Let me see who's on.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all of them. Really, you know, I challenge that whole group. Let's put our foot in the ground and let's start getting something done. There's just too much hesitation, you know, too much guessing. Just trust your read, trust your eyes, and let's go.
For some reason,
Start playing a little faster, not as tentative. And, you know, Cam's first time starting right now. You know, he did a great job in the past coming in and huge hole hits and breaks it. Not like he did a lot last year. And so, you know, it's a feeling out process. You know, there's been some big holes when Mike pulled it and threw it. He did a big play on RPO. So, you know, you always got to play that game. But I thought YG did a nice job the other night of just hitting it. And seeing his speed and space really brought another dimension. You know, he's been doing a nice job for me. As a receiver, now he's starting to get healthier and practicing throughout the week. So hopefully he just won't be limited to certain packages. He can go out there and play a lot of running back for us. That'll curb a lot of the frustration.
And also such a
Guys, I don't know where you know, I've been gone
start
for
Oklahoma game,
5
especially
days.
the second half.
It's not working. So
You know, what's happened since then, do you think that's been the biggest?
Well, they played some really good defenses, you know. And obviously just some costly turnovers in the red zone, costly penalties.
everything shows
All
all
this, it should have been, 24 or 28 at halftime.
They probably had
We had
problems.
3 or 4 mistakes in the red zone that cost us. So we're just leaving too many points out there. And we just got to keep pushing it, keep making plays. But, you know, I think a little bit too was just, you know, we played some good defensive fronts. And that's always going to, you know, we got to stay ahead in the game, stay ahead in the chains. And when we're having to play from a few scores down with a good D line, that's not the best, you know, recipe for success right now. And so we got to do our part. And when we get in the red zone, we got to score points. We can't allow a field goal. We got to score touchdowns. And our guys are doing that as long as we just don't jump off sides or, you know, turn the ball over. I think they've done a really nice job with that. We just got to just relax a little bit and take one play at a time. It's an offense. And when they do that, they're pretty fun to watch.
I know you get on guys. Are you trying to portray a little more optimism? I mean, how do you handle the mental aspect of trying to get the guys?
I mean, it's just, for me, it's always just business as usual. You know, I try to each day, we try to just go to be the best version of ourselves we can be and try not to focus on the scoreboard. You know, it's a process-oriented deal. It's a long season. You can't dwell too much on one game and, you know, can't look back. You know, we always got to keep pushing forward and keep improving and, you know, just keep playing with more confidence, playing faster. I think our guys are doing that at times. We just got to do it all the time. And it's just a process. We're starting to get in better shape, I think. And, you know, it's just sometimes a feeling out deal. You know, they came out guns a-blazing against Oklahoma and then Morgan State. And I thought really did a nice job against Ole Miss in the first half. And then the second half kind of got away from us. And, you know, not being able to practice all week. You know, the game we got combined a little bit Saturday. And then we started coming on strong and started making plays. And, you know, once again, we had to put the ball in the last part of the game, a chance to tie it or win it. And we got to do better there. You know, just give our kids a better chance to win those situations.
Yeah, I think it was we had 4 possessions in the second half in UAB territory, down 7 points, and couldn't get that one play.
Right, and we're usually doing really good on that. And just, you know, a costly turnover, a costly drop, penalty, poor call by me on that sudden change when we picked, and I called it reverse. That was really not good by me. And didn't put those guys in a good situation. So I mean, just little things. We got to get to the point where one play doesn't just devastate a drive. You know, we got to have a bigger margin for error it seems like right now. So getting some more guys on the field, getting YG out there, I think will help alleviate those and get some more explosive. Stadium Cole's doing a nice job getting with some explosive plays. We just need more guys to come on. Hopefully get Shea Wyatt back. He's an explosive guy. We didn't have him much Saturday night, so it's a grind. We play some really good teams. You're gonna get beat up, so you gotta learn to practice and play hard when you're tired.
Is Tajay still feeling his way back?
Yeah, obviously he's feeling his way back. I think we're getting close to just being able to turn him loose. Still just being precautious, just with his reps and whatnot. But he loves to work and he needs to get out there and just keep playing, and he'll come around.
Anything else for Coach Long?
Thank you.
You bet, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Coach Houston, let's put that up on the screen. There it is.
All right, exciting week this week. Big home football game for our program. It's always exciting when we get to conference play, and certainly being a member of the American Conference. What kind of league we play in, the quality of the teams in our league, and so to start off with one at home, I think is certainly a big plus for us. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Weather in the Greenville area is, I think we all appreciate this weather this time of the year better than what we had there in August and early September with the heat. But it's going to be a great weekend. 3:30 kickoff. Very good Tulane team coming in here. So excited to welcome Pirate Nation back. For another home game. I thought the stadium last Saturday night was just incredible. I thought the fan base and the student section certainly were a positive impact on the game for our roster and our players, and just really appreciate their support, especially the student section. I mean, it's been a couple of years since we had it like that, and so it was great to see, and looking forward to having everybody back this Saturday at 3:30. Questions?
Coach, I know you have a lot of respect for Willie Fritz, Tulane. Just when you turn on the tape for them, what stands out the most right away?
Well, I think you see, Coach Fritz's fingerprints everywhere on the program. Whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, I think you see a very physical football team. That's the biggest thing that stands out. When you watch their offensive line, the way they play, Coach and I have a very similar philosophy on how the game should be played, and I think it's just very obvious, watching them. Just seeing his philosophy there. So I think the physicality is the big thing that stands out. Certainly they have talented players. Quarterback's a great player, but that's the first thing that pops.
Back in any lot of facets. How did we look at last year's game at all and drawn any of that? Some of the success they had.
Right. Well, yeah, I think that makes sense to look at it. We have looked at it in detail. I think you look at the sampling from the first 4 games this year, and then you look at the stuff they did last year, because it is the same quarterback. It's a different coordinator, but it's still same head coach, same philosophy, and the same quarterback. So, they're going to look at the things they did well against us last year. We're going to look at the things that, we struggled with last year as we're putting together a game plan and kind of mesh that with what we've seen for the first 4 ball games.
Could you talk about your punter a little bit? Punter of the week this week for the Great Guy Award. Obviously, you don't want your punter of the week to be the punter of the week.
Right.
But he was, and just talk about his, the way he delivers, when you need one inside the 20, when you need a boomer, when he's able to do both of them.
Well, I think the big improvement on John, this year from last year has been the consistency. He's doing a tremendous job with hang time as well as distance. Last year he would hit a good one. He would hit one that wasn't so good. He would hit one with great distance. It wouldn't have great hang time. He was just very inconsistent. He worked very, very hard in the off season, and that hard work is showing. His punts are all 4+ hang time. And with the play of our gunners, Josiah Hatfield's the one that really stood out the other night. It's really forcing a lot of fair catches. And then, you look at the last punt of the ball game, in that situation, I wanted to make sure we were sound in protection. So we stayed in a base punt formation so we would make sure that the kick was protected. But I really just told him, I said, this is where we need the ball. And he was able to put it right where we needed it, just side down on the 2-yard line, which created a long field. and really set up the ending of the ball game. So you're doing a great job. I think that you're going to see two of the best punters in the league. This week, Tulane's punter is one of the top punters in the country. So you're going to see two of the better specialists that there are this weekend.
Coach, Tulane's a team that has played a couple of ranked opponents already. They played well on the road for the most part. This sets up as a interesting matchup. Talk about your points of emphasis as you enter this week's opponent.
Well, they played very well at Oklahoma opening weekend. Had a chance to win the ball game on the final drive, and I think Pratt earned a lot of respect from the Oklahoma faithful just the way he competed that day. Had a tough game at Ole Miss, but Ole Miss is they're having a pretty special year. They've got a pretty big ball game also. But I think that Tulane's well tested. They had a tough loss to UAB the other night in a game that I'm sure Coach Fritz won. It's a big challenge for us. As you look back over the span of the last 11 games or so that we played, the Tulane game last year is one that stands out where, I didn't feel like we played, at our best. We were coming off the tough game at Tulsa, and certainly that may have had a little bit to do with it. But at the end of the day, you did not have one of your better performances against this group last year. So, our kids are going to be motivated, between, the way we played last Saturday night and first conference football game and that performance last year against Tulane. I mean, our group's going to be motivated, that they want to play well. They want to figure out a way to win this ball game. And so I expect us to have a great week of practice this week. I expect us to be ready to play at 3:30 on Saturday, and I expect us to play very well. Yep. Well, it's a big game for a lot of reasons. I mean, and not to de-escalate your question, it would mean we're 1-0 in the conference. I mean, that's what it would mean to win this ball game, and so it would mean we're 3-2 on the season. I think when you do look at big picture, I mean, it would be obviously a big next step. You look over the span, like I said, of the last 11 games, we've done some really good things. You look over the span of the last 6 games, we're 4-2. You're 2-2 to start the season, so you're seeing some positive things, big picture wise. So as far as that's concerned, then yeah, it's a big ball game for us. But the biggest reason it's a big ball game is because it's the next one. It's the conference opener. It's a home game. It's a conference opponent. It's a good conference opponent. It would be a quality win. But we got our hands full. We're going to play our tails off Saturday to have a shot.
Coach, a couple of different questions for you. Any update on Rob Vanderlyn, and then also, like I said, I guess Ram Shore is dealing with something that he hadn't seen play too well for a handful of snaps. He's still not 100% up.
I think Aaron's probably back to full go now. The big thing is him. He just has not been able to practice full speed for a couple of weeks, and you can't go out there and be prepared to play if you don't. And so I think the big thing for him is just having a great week of practice this week. I know that Coach Harrell was meeting with him earlier today, just about trying to get him back into the swing of things rotationally. Because obviously if we can get him playing at a high level, that just creates so much more depth for us defensively and allows us to do a lot of different things. With Rob, just don't really know the extent right now. We don't think it's too serious. But we'll know later this week.
Coach, I noticed early in the second half, Trent Holler got some positions at center. He looked really good live ball. How did he do with the pre-snap responsibilities of the center position?
Well, Trent actually started the game the other night, so he played a good bit in the first half too, and he actually finished the game against Marshall. So, he's been in the rotation, pretty steadily and playing well. Avery has been playing well also. Avery was dealing with a little bit of an injury deal last week. He's back and he's fine now. But there's really not any drop off, mentally between Avery and Trent. In fact, that's probably one of Trent's strengths. As there's a little bit different body types.
Keaton's been able to bust off some big runs, but maybe haven't seen that Rajay game that we saw so often last year. Is he frustrated by all that? And what do you think maybe it takes to get him to go?
Well, I think they're both pushing themselves to play a little bit better. Keaton has popped a couple of big plays. I think one of them has 45 carries, the other one has 43 carries. We're splitting reps with them, so they're both getting pretty equal touches, which is what we want. We want them both fresh when they're in there. They both want to play better. Rajay obviously wants to be more productive, but Keaton does also, and I think that's something that's a big stress for us this week. And I don't want them pushing, to the point that they're too much. It's a feel thing in the run game. Now, both of them, we want them, getting vertical, running behind their pads, doing all those things. But we really need to, continue to bring them along with that offensive line as far as seeing the cuts and making the cuts and being decisive. I think those are the big things.
Two straight close games, two straight wins in those close games. It was very character-building wins. How do you think that'll help you down the stretch when it really matters most?
Well, it's. I think I'd rather win the close games than lose them. That's for sure. I mean, it's. We've had our share of close losses in my first couple of years here, and so it was great to get a good road win at Marshall in a very tight, contested fourth quarter. I think, if you're looking for a positive from last Saturday night, it's, we did not play well. I'm not happy with the way we performed, but we found a way to win the ball game. And so you're obviously in a lot better space than you would be if you had lost that ball game. So I just think that, being in those late game situations, there's no substitute for experience. I don't care what kind of experience you're talking about. The more you're in situations and the more experience you get with them, the more comfortable that you are, in those situations as far as execution.
Coach, 3 or 4 games, 30% on third down offensively. I know that's probably frustrating for you guys, but what do you identify as maybe the problems there 3 or 4 games?
Got to be better on first down. That's the biggest problem. If we can get our offense in 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s, then you're going to see us be a lot more effective on third down. If we're going to be in 3rd and 9s and 3rd and 11s, then we're not going to be very effective. And those are the biggest issues. And it was the issue the other night. Is just we've got to be more productive on the early downs, drive the football better. It's just you can't continually get yourselves in 3rd and longs. Those are challenging situations for you offensively. It's what we try to do defensively. We have our big thing on defense is try to play well on 1st and 2nd down, get it to 3rd down, and win 3rd down. But if you're sitting 3rd and 2 defensively all the time, you're going to struggle on 3rd down. So that's the big thing, is just being more productive on the early downs. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, this concludes the press conferences of Willie Fritz and Coach Houston. Look, he's saying the truth. Look, on 3rd down, you have to be more consistent. I mean that goes for everybody. I mean, when you convert on 3rd down, you'll get to the first downs and you'll be better for it. So let's go ahead and give you a scouting report on East Carolina. So we're going to go ahead and give you a scouting report on them. So let's go ahead and give those. Go over to these screens. Let's give you okay. Scouting report on East Carolina. The last couple of games. Let's go to the last 3 games. Last 10 games they played. They played Charleston Southern. They won by like I said, they won by 31-28 score, and they played Marshall and they won. So they won 2 games, but the games against South Carolina and App State, they did lose those games convincingly. So that's one thing that they're definitely inconsistent with. So that's what happened. So they played SMU, but they got into a shootout. Also, they played Temple, and they got blown out. So that was in the games in the last couple of games. So let's break them down. Let's go ahead and give you a team breakdown on them. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a team breakdown. So let me give you that. Okay, we're going to begin. So let me go over and move this over. So I'm going to give you an update on them. So let me go ahead and switch this over to so we're going to give you a breakdown on them. Okay, let's go ahead and break down the scoring for East Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Last couple of games. Okay, last couple of games, they averaged 27 points a game. Also, at home, they averaged 24 points a game. So that's 48 points total right there. So in that last couple of games right there. Now, in a win situation, they averaged 36 points a game when it comes down to it. And then once in conference, non-conference, they're at 27.3. So that's a pretty good, consistent scoring, if you ask me. That's just only 27 points, but they can put up they put up a total of 109. So that's what they do on scoring offense. Now we'll give you a game log breakdown. The last couple of games, they put up 19 against Appalachia State, 17 against South Carolina, 42 against Marshall, and then Charleston Southern, they put up 31 points. That's 31 points in the last couple of games. That's over 100 points right there. So they can put up those 100 points. They might be at 27.3 points a game, but they'll put up 100 plus when it comes down to it. So East Carolina, like I said, their scoring is very in bunches when it comes down to it. Okay, let's give you the total offensive breakdown. I'm going to go ahead and give you that. So let me put that up on the screen. Okay, total breakdown. Okay, East Carolina averages 399 yards total. At home, they average 328. So that's over 300 yards. Again, that's 5.3 yards a pop. So that's in home game and road game. Now in the win, they put up 400 yards. So they put up over 400 yards in a win for the East Carolina Pirates. Now, so that's why, like I said, Tulane has to slow them down on defense. They definitely have to slow them down because East Carolina can just absolutely put up those points when it comes down to it, those total yards of offense. So you got to get them off the field on third down. That's important. Okay, let's go ahead and give you their last couple of games. Let's go ahead and give you those game log last couple of games. Okay, total yards in the last couple of games, they put up 388 versus Charleston Southern. They put up 561 versus Marshall. And they kind of went down a little bit. They went to 268 on total yards against South Carolina. They went down to from 616 to 4.25. So that's a significant drop. Then it went back up to 5.86. They had 381 yards a game versus Appalachia State. So I'll be honest with you, total yards, they could get those total yards in an instant, rack them up. So let's give you the running games. Let's go over to the running game. I'm going to give you the running game numbers. I'll put these numbers up on the screen. Okay, the running game, they average 129.5 yards a game. That's 6 touchdowns. Also, on the road, they put up 133 yards total in games. That's an average of that's on 35 attempts. 35 that's on 71 carries right there. That's on 71 carries when it comes down to it. So they run the ball very consistently and get touchdowns on a consistent basis. Now let's give you the last couple of game logs. Okay, against Charleston Southern, the last game they played, they put up 150 yards. That's a total of 4.5 yards a game. That's only 2 scores they did. That's on the running game. Now, against Marshall, on 40 carries, they put up 166 yards. That's an average of 4.15. That's 3 scores against them. Now, against South Carolina, they put up 116 yards. That was 3.0 in the yards per carry. And they had 1 score. Now, against Appalachia State, they did not score on running the football. So they will consistently run the football whenever they can do it. So that's what the run defense has to be aware of, because they will put up some numbers during that game. I mean, when you put up over, I'd say over 100 yards a game, you're gonna win games. East Carolina, the reason why they're 3-2 and 1-0 in the conference, because of their running game and their passing, their defense. So we will go over some more stuff. So we'll go over the passing game. I'm going to switch back over to passing. We'll give you those numbers. Okay, let me get those passing numbers down. Okay, the passing numbers are averaging 270 yards a game. That's 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That's in all games. So they kind of have their interceptions at 5 and 7 scores. That's on 143 attempts in the games. Now, at home, they put up 195 yards passing. That's on and they have 2 touchdowns, but the interception rate goes up to 4. So they got 4 interceptions. So they kind of a little gaudy when it comes down to those interception, the touchdown rates for the East Carolina Pirates. Now, in a win, they put up 316 yards. That's on 77 attempts right there. 48 of 77 attempts. But they have 4 touchdowns and 2 INTs. That's interceptions. Now, we'll go through the game logs and we'll break those down as well. So I'm going to go break those down for you as well. Okay. Against Appalachia State, they had 2 touchdowns. They threw for 295 yards. That was a rating of 125.3. Now against South Carolina, they only managed to get 1 score, but they had 2 interceptions to bear against South Carolina. So their rating went down from 125 to 96.2. Now, Marshall, they won 42-38. They threw for 395 yards and 3 scores. Their quarterback rating went up from 96.2 to 145.2. Now, against Charleston Southern, they threw 17 of 26, 238. They only had 1 touchdown, but they had 2 interceptions versus Charleston. but their quarterback rating went down from 145.2 in the last game against Marshall to 139.5 in the Charleston game. So that's something right there. If the defense can muster up some interceptions, I think it would be a great win for the defense when it comes down to it, because they can get those numbers. They can get intercepted at any time when it comes down to it. Because look, if you could put pressure on him and make him disrupt his passes, he would have a bad day. He would have maybe 3 interceptions. Their quarterback for East Carolina. So we'll break that down. We just broke down the run game, pass game. Okay, let's break down the receiving game for East Carolina. I'll give you a breakdown on East Carolina. Okay, the wide receivers are averaging 13.1 yards a game with 7 scores and 270 yards on the receiving end. Now, at home, East Carolina puts up 390 yards. So those wide receivers average 13.4. They get 2 scores out of it, but it's 195. So 195 in that area. 195 yards a game against defenses of the opponents. Now that's something, like I said, that's something that they have to Tulane defense has to be aware of, is those wide receivers, because those wide receivers, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna get open during that game. Now let's go over the downs and the distance with you. I'm gonna go over first downs. I'll give you those breakdowns as we go. Okay, first down numbers. East Carolina has 73 first downs. They run 22 times and pass 41 times versus the opponent's defense, offenses. No, offense, excuse me. Opponent's defenses. At home, East Carolina puts up 26 first downs. That's 11 on runs, 13 on passes. So they kind of balance out right there when it comes down to it. For the first down conversions. Now, in the last couple of games, let's give you those last couple of games. East Carolina's performance. Okay, East Carolina against Charleston, Southern put up 14 first downs. They have 5 runs and 8 passes. Now, against Marshall, they put up 17 passes, and that's on first downs, and 17 runs. Now, the next one we're going to go over to is South Carolina. They had 12 first downs, 6 runs, 5 passes. So they ran for the first down against South Carolina's defense. Now, against Appalachian State, they had 20 first downs, 14 on passes, and 4 on runs. So that's a consistent manner right there when it comes down to those first downs. Now we'll go over to the third down conversion. We'll break those down for you. Okay, East Carolina on third down efficiency, they're at 28%. So they're not very good when it comes down to those third down conversions. So they're 18 of 63. Now at home, they're only at 14% on conversions. 14%. That's 4 of 27. So, like I said, if you can get those East Carolina into third down in long situation, that would be a big victory for those involved. But if you continue to let them get those first downs, you're not gonna get off the field. So that's something that we can work on against the East Carolina offense. So let's go over to the game logs, and I'll give you the last couple of games that they converted on third downs and stuff like that. So we'll do that. Okay, against Appalachia State, they went 31%. So they went 31%. That's 5 out of 16 on third down conversions. So if you can keep them below 30%, that would be a great victory. Now, against South Carolina, they went 2 out of 15. That was good for 13%. Then they went back up against Marshall, so they went 45%, 9 out of 20. Now, they went down in the Charleston Southern game, so they didn't do too well on third down conversion. So they went 16%. That's 2 out of 15. So if you can keep the defense, I'm gonna tell you, Charleston Southern's defense kept them from converting third downs in games. So that's something right there. Okay, let's go over to the fourth down conversion. We're going to break those down for you. Okay, fourth down conversions as a team, they're at 75%, 6 of 8. Also, at home, they're 2 out of 2. So that's in games on fourth down conversions. Now, game log wise, the last couple of games, they went very consistent. They went 66% against Appalachia State, 100% against South Carolina, and then 66% against Marshall again. So Marshall, and then they went back to 100% against Charleston Southern. So that's they will convert on fourth down. So that if they have to, if they get on fourth down, and fourth down in inches and stuff like that, or fourth down in medium, or they will probably would go for it, or they'll probably would have to punt on those conversions. So that is your fourth down distance. We're going to give you the red zone. So we'll go ahead and give you red zone breakdown of East Carolina. So we'll give you those in just a second. Okay, red zone efficiency, they're at 90%. They went 10 of 11. So at 10 of 11, they have 6 scores and 4 field goals. Now at home, they go 40%. That's 4 out of 5. So they will convert in the red zones 4 out of those last 5 times. That's in home games. So that the biggest thing for the Tulane defense is to do is not give them any leeway when it comes to red zone efficiency. Because you give them leeway, they'll just take advantage of it. Okay, let's go over to the game log. I'll give you the game log breakdown on them. Okay, they went 2 out of 2 versus Appalachia State. They had 2 scores, field goals in the red zone. Now they went 2 out of 2 versus South Carolina. They had 1 score apiece. And then they go 100% versus Marshall. 4 out of 4 scores. They have 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. Now against Charleston Southern, they had 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. So they kind of was at 66.5%. Now the total red zone efficiency is 6 touchdowns and 4 field goals in games. So if you could make them kick field goals in the first half, you can get them off the field. It could be a huge victory for the defenses involved. So that's a big thing we have to do when we play against East Carolina this weekend is not let them score a touchdown in the red zone. Period. Okay. Okay, we're going to break down defensive side of the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the defensive side of the football for East Carolina. So we're going to start with scoring once again. And we're going to go over to the defensive side of the football. Okay, East Carolina in all games give up 29.8 points a game. At home, they give up 24 points a game. In a win, they give up 33 points a game. So they give up the 33. So their numbers is going to differ. But at home, in a win, they will give up 33. Only 33 points in the red zone. In the scoring. Okay, let's give you a game log. Okay, the last couple of games on scoring defense, they gave up 33 points against Appalachia State, 20 against South Carolina, 38 against Marshall, and also 28 against Charleston Southern. So that is your breakdown when it comes down to the scoring defenses in games. Now we'll give you total defense. We're going to go ahead and give it a total defense. So I'm going to go split screen. Okay. East Carolina gives up 494 yards a game. That's on 6.5 yards a play. Now at home, they give up 422 yards a pop. Now at in a win situation, they will definitely give up 584 yards total in games. So that's kind of a little shady, but it is what it is for the East Carolina defense. Now, in last couple of games, East Carolina gave up 485 yards. They also gave up 324 against South Carolina, 647 against Marshall. So Marshall had a pretty good, they waxed them on those numbers. And also, they gave up over 500 yards versus Charleston Southern's offense. So that's kind of where they stand for East Carolina. So we'll give you the passing game. So I'm going to give you the passing game in just a second. Pass defense, we'll go pass defense. Okay, pass defense. Last couple of games, they gave up 326 yards. That's in all games. And then they give up 307 at home. Now, on the road, they will give up 400 and something yards, 411.5. So defensively, I would say that's a win for the Tulane offense when it comes down to it. They give up over 400 yards in the win. And they give up over 300 yards at home. So that's the biggest that's the thing I'm talking about right there. 300 yards. Now on a game log, we'll give you the last games that they put up gave up yards. Okay, on pass, they gave up 259 versus Appalachia State, 225 versus South Carolina, 433 versus Marshall, and 390 yards versus Charleston Southern. So that's on the pass defenses in their games last couple of weeks. Now the run game. So we'll go through the run defense. We'll run through the run defense stats, and we'll give you those numbers, how we see the game shaping up this weekend. Okay, let's go ahead and give you those numbers. Okay, let's begin. East Carolina run defense, they give up 167 yards, but 8 touchdowns they're giving up in games. They also give up 115 yards and 2 touchdowns in games. Now, at home, they'll give up 172 yards running the ball versus on run defense. Now, they'll give up 6 touchdowns. So that's what we're looking at. When you give up 115 yards a game, that's 2.9 yards a pop. That's kind of a little bit better on their defensive ends. Let's go through the game logs. We'll give you those numbers. Okay, the last couple of games, East Carolina gave up 226 yards versus South Appalachia State. They gave up 99 versus South Carolina. They also gave up 214 versus Marshall. That's over 200 yards. They just had their way with them. And Charleston Southern, they give up 131 yards. That's 3.3 yards a pop in those games. So they kind of was a little lethargic when it comes down to that. So that's East Carolina's run defense reports. Okay, I'm going to give you the wide receivers. So I'm going to give you the wide receiver reports. We'll give you those as we go. Okay, wide receivers on defense. Let's put those in. Okay, they're giving up 326 yards. They're giving up 13.7 yards a pop against the opponent's wide receiver cores. Now, they will give up 411 yards. That's going to be in a win. That's an average of 13.2, but they'll give up 3 touchdowns versus the wide receiver cores in the league or in non-conference plays. Now we'll pull this up. We'll go game numbers here. Okay, we'll give you those numbers right here. Okay, Appalachia State, they gave up 259 on the wide receivers. They also gave up 225. They gave up 433, and they also gave up 390 versus Charleston Southern. That's in they gave up a total of 10.2 yards a pop versus Charleston Southern. So that is how we look at the passing game, running game on the defensive side of the football for East Carolina. So we'll go ahead and give you sacks and interceptions. We'll go ahead and give you sacks. Okay, let's go ahead and give you the numbers on them. Give you some sack numbers. Okay, the last couple of games, they average 10 sacks a game. That's 67 yards. So they average 10 sacks a game. So they're kind of getting to the quarterback as they should. They also put up 8 sacks a game at home. And then they put up 6 sacks while they're on the road. So while they're in a win. So in a win situation, they'll put up 6 sacks. But the biggest one is 10 sacks in games versus opponents' offenses. Now in the game log. So we'll give you the game log numbers. Okay, against Appalachia State, they got 1 sack. They managed to get 1 sack for 8 yards. Also, against South Carolina, they put up 3 sacks against South Carolina. Then against Marshall, they only have 1. And then Charleston Southern, they had 5 sacks for 29 yards. So that was in those games versus the opponent's offense. Now we'll give you some interceptions. So let's go ahead and give you those. And we'll give you fumble recoveries. Okay, I'm going to go defensively here. I'm going to go split stats. Okay, interceptions. They only have 5 interceptions a game. So that's 5 interceptions versus those offenses. Now at home, they get 2 interceptions. That's a very low conscience, but it is what it is. But they got 1 score out of it. Now at home, they will put up 3 interceptions, but they'll get 1 score out of it. So they'll get 3 interceptions, but 1 score out of it on the defensive side of the football. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Okay, in the last couple of games, interceptions. Appalachian State, they managed to get 1. They managed to get 1 against South Carolina. They managed to get 2 against Marshall, and they managed to get 1 versus Charleston Southern. So that's how the interception defense works. Let's see if we get the fumble recoveries. I'll give you the fumble recoveries numbers. Okay, fumble recovery. In all games, they recovered 1 fumble. At home, they recovered 1 fumble. On the road, they don't get no fumble recoveries. So they don't get no fumble recoveries in that area. So let's see. I'm going to give you turnover margin. I'm going to give you takeaway giveaway. So I'm going to give you those breakdowns. So let's go ahead and give you the giveaway. Okay, they're at +1 in the giveaway takeaway ratio. That's getting the ball and fumbling the ball. Also in wins, they get a margin of 1. So it's +1 in those turnover margins. So that's in the turnover margins. Now, let's go over to downs and distance. I'm going to break those down for you. So we'll give you a defensive breakdown on those what they do on first down on defense. Okay, they give up 99 first downs versus opponent's offense. Offenses run 39 times and they run 50 passes against them. That's on first down, 50 first downs against them. Now they'll get 50. They'll give up 50. That's 19 runs and 25 passes. That's on, and that'll be a total of 50. Now on wins, they will give up 58 first downs. That's 19 runs and 34 passes. That's in win situations for them. Now we'll go ahead and give you a game log, or we'll give you last. Okay, against Appalachian State, they gave up 25 first downs. Appalachian State had 10 runs and 12 passes. Now on against South Carolina, they give up 16. South Carolina had 10 runs and 4 passes against East Carolina defense on first down. Now against Marshall, they had 24 first downs given up. They had 10 on runs and 13 on passes. Now against Charleston Southern, they only had 34 first downs. East Carolina defense gave up 9 runs and 21 passes on first down. Now we'll go to the third down conversions. That's on defense. It's not on offense. This is on defense now. Defensive side of the football. So we'll pull these down. Okay, third down conversions on defense. East Carolina gives up 35 on 35% at home. They'll give up 31%. And at on wins, they'll give up 42 third downs. 42 percent of those third downs. That's on 14 of 33 conversions in games. Now we'll give you the third downs from the recent opponents that East Carolina played. Okay, they gave up 36% for. I know it's on defense. 4 out of 11, so they gave up 4 out of 11. The last one was 16%. That was 12. 2 out of 12. And then also 46%. That was against Marshall. 6 of 13 against East Carolina defense. Now, and also Charleston Southern was at 40%. They gave up 8 of 20 versus them. Now we'll give you the fourth down conversions. We're going to go defensive side, and we'll break them down for you. Okay. East Carolina gave up 75%. That's 3 out of 4. Also at home, they give up 100%. And then they'll give up 75% in wins situations. That's on fourth down defense. Now, in the last couple of games, the last two were none. So they didn't give up none in the last 2 games. But the last 2 games going down the schedule. Against Marshall, they gave up 50%. That was 1 of 2. Against Charleston Southern, they gave up 2 out of 2 versus the East Carolina defense. So that's your significant breakdowns when it comes down to it. Now, let's go to red zone defense. And I'll give you the red zone numbers. Okay, red zone, they're at 76% in the red zone on defensive side, 9 touchdowns and 4 field goals. Now they go up to 83%, 4 touchdowns and 1 field goal. Now in wins, they'll go 7 of 10. That's 70%. So they give up 6 touchdowns and wins versus their defense. So that's how you look at these teams right here. I mean, when they convert in red zone opportunities and stuff like that, that will help out in getting off the field on third down, and also if you're in the red zone. Okay, we're going to break down their quarterback. So let's go ahead and break down their quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and give you those. Okay, Horton Omar, he's a junior quarterback. His quarterback rating is at 121.2. Also, they use Tyler Snead. But he's only gotten 3 snaps out of that game, but he's got 2 touchdowns. His quarterback rating is at 572.7. So 572.7. That's in their game right there. So that's their passing game. So they're going to use their quarterbacks consistently for East Carolina. Now the running game, they got Keaton Mitchell. He averages 7.8 yards a pop. So that's a pretty good running back. Raja Harris, he's got an average of 3.7. He's got 1 score. And then Holton Ayers has 2 touchdowns. So your main guys would be Mitchell and Harris running the ball for East Carolina. Now, your receiving core. Let's go ahead and give you the receivers for them. Okay, your receivers, Snead with 18 catches for 202 yards. He's averaging 11.2. Also, Hatfield has 7 catches for 168. So they got pretty good depth at wide receiver. C.J. Johnson, it's another guy. He's a sophomore. He's averaging 13.7 yards per catch. And then Keaton Mitchell averaging 10 yards a catch. And then you got Shane Calhoun averaging 14.5 yards a catch. He has 9 catches for 131 yards. And then this guy right here, Olin. So that's your wide receiver core. They have a pretty good wide receiver core that can flat out catch the football. Just look at those numbers. Those numbers don't tell you a lie. They tell you the absolute truth when it comes down to it. So we'll give you their defense. Let's go ahead and give you their defensive players. Let's see if I can give you their defensive players. I'm going to give you their main guys. Okay, I'm going to give you. Okay, let's give you their main guys. Let's give you. Okay, their main guys in sacks is Ware, Hickman, Hickman. So they got 10 sacks a game. So they got some of them that can absolutely blitz the quarterback and get those sacks when it comes down to it. So once again, Tulane offense has to be aware of what's going on at all times with the with those guys making those blitzes, because they can make significant plays and get double-digit sacks in games. So that is how we look at those. How we look at East Carolina. So we'll go ahead and give you. I'm gonna go ahead and give you point spread numbers on them. So I'm gonna give you those numbers in just a second. We'll break them down for you. So. Okay, let's get this up on the screen. Okay, I'm going to pull these up. Okay, East Carolina. Let's give you a breakdown of East Carolina. Betting-wise, East Carolina coming into the game, they're in the under. They're 4-0 in their last 4 games after allowing 280 yards in previous games. So they're 4-0 in that area. That's a consistent match. Now, East Carolina is 6-1 in their last 7 games on grass. They also 5-1 in their last 6 games in October. And then in the under, they're 4-1 in their last 5 games. And then the Pirates are 3-1-1 in their last 5 games after an ATS loss. So they're pretty good when it comes down to holding the point spread down. So that's how the consistency goes when it comes down to it. So we'll give you. Let's see what else we'll give you. Okay. So I'm gonna pull these up. So that's your betting trends right there. Going into the game. Okay, let's give you East Carolina's let's see. I'm gonna give you East Carolina's numbers. So it's in the last couple of games. So that is in the under. So Tulane is a 4-point favorite going into this game. So let me go ahead and turn this off. I really think that East Carolina can hold its own. Tulane is a 4-point favorite going into Greenville this week. But the truth of the matter is, look, after looking at all those numbers, I say this, look, Tulane's going to have a lot of work to do this week. They definitely cannot rest on their laurels on the last game versus UAB. They have to just move on and go to this game right here, because this is conference play coming up. Make no mistake about it. If you don't, if you play a lackluster game against East Carolina, you're going to pay for it. plain and simple. But if you come out playing consistent versus East Carolina, you will have no problem winning that game. I mean, everything's got to click on all cylinders. The quarterback play, running back play, and offensive line play. That's your three factors right there going into this game. Now, on the defensive side, you have to not get no penalties. You have to make your tackles. And also, on special teams, play the field position battle. Because if you can play the field position battle versus them, the defense can win. But if you let them get good field position, all bets are off. So once again, thanks for joining us for this Tulane preview versus East Carolina. Hopefully, I gave you a lot of information to better understand what this what Tulane's up against this coming Saturday afternoon. So once again, we will see you tomorrow for Sports Talk. Again, we will have Saints preview versus the New York Giants. The first time the Saints are going back to the Superdome since Hurricane Ida. So we'll have a game breakdown for you. And also, we'll have the Ed Orgeron show tomorrow night around 7 o'clock. So once again, everybody, have a good rest of your Tuesday evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.